The rain hammered my workshop windows like bullets against glass, each drop a reminder that Maine weather doesn't give a damn about your problems. I was calibrating my newest drone when Zara's voice cut through the storm from the kitchen. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Aiden, honey, I'm leaving for the wellness retreat in an hour. Remember, no contact for 5 days, digital detox, and all that spiritual nonsense the girls insist on. I looked up from the DJI Mavic Pro's gimbal adjustment, watching my wife of 7 years pack her designer luggage through the doorway. Zara Mellor moved with the calculated grace of someone who knew she was being watched, even when she thought she wasn't. Her auburn hair caught the kitchen light as she folded clothes that cost more than most people's monthly rent. "Which resort again?" I called back, not because I'd forgotten, but because something in her tone felt rehearsed. "Mountain View Sanctuary in Vermont. You know, the one Lyra recommended." She appeared in the doorway, all 5'6" of polished perfection. No phones, no internet, just meditation and overpriced organic food. Lyra Ventrix, Zara's closest friend and the gallery curator who treated conversation like a contact sport. Beautiful in that sharp-edged way that made men stupid and women careful. I'd never trusted her, but Zara collected friends like trophies, and Lyra was her crown jewel. "Sounds awful," I said, returning to my drone. "Have fun finding your inner peace or whatever." Zara kissed my cheek, her perfume lingering like evidence. "Don't wait up. We're driving through the night to beat traffic." An hour later she was gone, leaving behind the faint scent of lies and expensive fragrance. I'm not paranoid by nature, but 15 years of commercial drone photography teaches you to notice details others miss. Zara had packed her good lingerie, the stuff she never wore for me anymore. Her laptop was missing from its usual spot, and she'd taken her professional camera, which seemed odd for a technology-free retreat. By Wednesday, my suspicions had crystallized into certainty. I was reviewing footage from a corporate shoot when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. The call connected to air for 3 seconds, then Zara's laughter spilled through the speaker. Not alone. A man's voice, deep and confident, said something that made her giggle like a teenager. "Wellness, my ass," I muttered, ending the pocket dial. "Unless yoga now involves moaning." I pulled up the Find My Device app we'd shared since our 2nd year of marriage. Zara's phone pinged from Burlington, Vermont, just like she'd said. But her iPad, which she'd forgotten to disable, was broadcasting from Portland, Maine. Specifically, from the Harbor View Hotel downtown. The same hotel where she'd told me she'd never be seen in, because it was too flashy and nouveau riche. Thursday evening found me at Sanctuary, the converted church that served as our town's attempt at sophisticated nightlife. The original stained glass windows cast colored shadows across exposed brick walls, and the acoustics that once carried hymns now amplified the clink of wine glasses and whispered gossip. I was nursing a bourbon and scrolling through Zara's social media, carefully curated posts about finding inner peace with photos that could have been taken anywhere, when someone slid into the booth across from me. "Well, well, aren't you supposed to be pining away at home while your wife finds herself?" Lyra Ventrix smiled like a cat with a cornered mouse. She wore a black dress that cost more than my drone equipment and jewelry that caught the light with every calculated gesture. Her dark hair was pulled back, showcasing cheekbones that could cut glass and eyes that missed nothing. "Lyra." I set down my phone. "Funny seeing you here. Aren't you on the wellness trip?" Her smile widened, revealing teeth as perfect as everything else about her. "Oh, honey, she's not on any wellness trip." She leaned forward conspiratorially. "She's with her lover." The words hit like ice water, even though I'd suspected. Hearing it confirmed by Zara's best friend Felt like watching a car crash in slow motion. "Excuse me?" Lyra pulled out her phone with theatrical flair. "Damien Kessler. Tech entrepreneur, married, absolutely loaded, and completely obsessed with your wife." She swiped through screenshots, hotel reservations, restaurant check-ins, photos of Zara laughing in a man's arms. They've been at it for 3 months. The Harbor View Hotel, expensive restaurants I couldn't afford, weekend work conferences that suddenly made sense. I studied the photos with the same detachment I used to analyze aerial footage, cataloging details and angles. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. Lyra's expression shifted, vulnerability flickering behind her predatory smile. "Because I'm tired of being her accomplice. She's been using me as her alibi, dragging me into her lies." She paused. "And because you deserve better." The church's old acoustics carried conversations from other tables, fragments of gossip about local scandals, business deals, romantic entanglements. This town thrived on secrets, and apparently, I'd been living one without knowing it. "There's more," Lyra continued, sliding her phone across the table. "She's been posting on a private Instagram account hidden from you. Look." Photos of Zara in designer clothes I'd never seen, at restaurants I'd never been to, with a man who looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine. Damien Kessler had the kind of polished handsomeness that came from expensive grooming and inherited confidence. In every photo, Zara looked happier than she had with me in years. "Forget her," Lyra said suddenly, her hand covering mine. "Dinner with me tonight? We could go to Romano's, have some real conversation for once." The invitation hung between us like a loaded weapon. Around us, the converted church hummed with activity. Couples on dates, business meetings, friends sharing wine and secrets. I could see Zara's industry contacts at a corner table, people who knew us both, who would definitely notice if I left with her best friend. "You know what?" I said, signaling the waiter. "That sounds perfect." Lyra's eyes lit up with surprise and something else. Triumph, maybe, or vindication. "Really?" "Really. But let's make it interesting." I pulled out my phone and opened the camera. Smile. The photo captured both of us perfectly. Lyra leaning close, me with my arm around her shoulders, both of us looking intimate and conspiratorial. I tagged it with the restaurant's location and added Zara's work colleagues to the post. "What are you doing?" Lyra asked, though she didn't pull away. "Controlling the narrative," I said, posting the photo. "If we're doing this, we're doing it right." Within minutes, my phone buzzed with likes and comments. Zara's industry friends were nothing if not observant, and a picture of her husband with her best friend while she was supposedly on retreat would generate exactly the kind of speculation I wanted. Lyra stared at me with new interest. "You're not what I expected." "What did you expect?" "Tears, anger. Maybe you'd throw something or demand I take you to her." I finished my bourbon and stood, offering her my arm. "I'm a photographer, Lyra. I know that the best shots require patience, proper timing, and the right angle." Romano's was crowded, which was perfect. We took a table by the window where anyone walking by could see us. Lyra ordered wine and pasta. I stuck with bourbon and asked questions. "How long have you known?" I asked. "Since the beginning. She called me after their first date, gushing like a schoolgirl." Lyra twirled her linguine with practiced elegance. He swept her off her feet. Private jets, expensive hotels, promises about leaving his wife. His wife? Oh yes. Damien's married to some socialite from Boston. 2 kids, big house in Beacon Hill, the whole suburban dream. She sipped her wine. But apparently she's boring, and Zara is exciting. The irony wasn't lost on me. Zara had become the other woman in someone else's marriage while making me the fool in ours. "She's been using company resources too," Lyra continued. "Damien's tech firm has partnerships with her agency. She's been feeding him inside information, helping him land contracts. That explained the new clothes, The expensive dinners, the sudden interest in professional development. Zara hadn't just been cheating, she'd been profiting from it. My phone buzzed. Text from Terry, my only real friend and the mechanic who kept my equipment running. "Dude, saw your post. What's going on?" I showed Lyra the message. "Mind if I tell people we're together? Just for tonight?" She laughed, a sound like breaking crystal. "You're diabolical. I like it." I texted back, "Long story. Having dinner with a beautiful woman. Details tomorrow." By the time we finished dinner, my social media was buzzing. Zara's colleagues, our mutual friends, even some of her family members had seen the photos. The speculation was already starting. Where was Zara? Why was I with Lyra? What did it mean? "You realize this will get back to her," Lyra said as we walked to our cars. "That's the point." I opened her car door, playing the perfect gentleman for anyone watching. She wanted to play games. Now we're all playing. Friday morning brought the consequences. I was in my workshop, editing drone footage from a real estate shoot, when my phone exploded with notifications. Zara was calling from her hidden number, texting from her official one, even trying to reach me through social media. I let them all go to voicemail. The first message was pure fury. "What the hell do you think you're doing? Call me back now." The second showed cracks in her composure. "Aiden, please, people are asking questions, just call me." The third revealed desperation. "I can explain everything. Don't do anything stupid." Too late for that, I thought, pulling up our joint bank accounts online. Zara had always handled our finances, claiming she was better with money. She was right. She was excellent at spending mine. I transferred everything from our joint accounts into my personal account, changed the passwords, and removed her as an authorized user on my credit cards. Then I called our insurance company and removed her as my beneficiary, replacing her with Terry. Not out of spite, but because I had a feeling I'd need someone I could trust handling my affairs if things got complicated. Next, I opened my laptop and began crafting an email. Zara's boss, Margaret Chen, was a no-nonsense woman who'd built her agency on reputation and ethics. She'd mentioned at company parties how seriously she took conflicts of interest. "Margaret," I wrote, "I hope you're well. I'm reaching out because I've discovered some information that might concern the agency's relationship with Kessler Tech Solutions. I believe there may be undisclosed personal relationships affecting professional judgment. I'd be happy to discuss this further at your convenience." I attached screenshots of Zara's hidden social media posts, nothing explicit, just photos that clearly showed a personal relationship with Damien Kessler during the same time frame as their business negotiations. The email sent with a satisfying whoosh. My phone rang immediately. "Lyra. Aiden, I need to talk to you. Can we meet? Having second thoughts about last night?" "It's not that, it's..." She paused. "I didn't expect you to actually do anything. I thought you'd just be hurt and maybe get divorced quietly." "Where do you want to meet?" "The gallery. I'm here preparing for next week's opening." Lyra's gallery occupied a converted warehouse in the Arts District, all exposed beams and polished concrete floors. She'd transformed it into a sophisticated space that attracted collectors from Boston and New York. When I arrived, she was hanging paintings with the focused intensity of someone trying not to think about something else. "You look nervous," I observed. She set down her hammer and turned to face me. "I am nervous. Do you know what you've done? Enlightened some people about conflicts of interest? You've started a war." She gestured helplessly. "Zara called me this morning, screaming. She knows I told you. She's threatening to destroy my reputation, ruin the gallery, tell everyone I seduced her husband." "Did you?" Lyra's laugh was bitter. "I offered dinner, not marriage. But that won't matter if she decides to burn everything down." I studied the paintings she'd been hanging, abstract pieces that played with light and shadow, truth and perception. "What do you want from me, Lyra?" "Help me survive this. You started it. You must have a plan to finish it." "I do, but it requires you to choose a side." She met my eyes, and I saw the calculation there. Lyra Ventrix had spent her life navigating social dynamics, reading people, positioning herself advantageously. She understood power and how to use it. "What do you need?" she asked. Saturday brought the first public confrontation. The town's monthly arts festival filled the streets with vendors, musicians, and tourists looking for authentic Maine culture. Zara had returned from her fake retreat, and according to Terry, who'd been monitoring social media like a private investigator, she was furious and desperate. I found her at the coffee stand near the main stage, looking perfectly put together despite the chaos in her life. She wore a sundress that emphasized her figure and sunglasses that hid her eyes, but I could see the tension in her shoulders, the way she gripped her phone like a lifeline. "Hello, Zara." She spun around, and even through the sunglasses I could feel her glare. "You bastard. How could you do this to me?" "Do what? Have dinner with a friend?" "Don't play innocent. You know exactly what you did." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "The bank accounts, the insurance, that email to Margaret." "What email?" Her mouth tightened. "She called me this morning, asked about my relationship with Damian Kessler, wanted to know if there were any conflicts of interest in our recent contracts." "And what did you tell her?" "The truth, that he's a client and nothing more." I smiled. "Interesting, because your Instagram posts suggest otherwise." The color drained from her face. "You went through my phone?" "Didn't need to. Lyra showed me everything." "That snake." The words came out like venom. "I should have known she'd stab me in the back the first chance she got." "Actually, she was trying to protect you. Warned me that people were starting to talk, suggested I might want to know the truth before I heard it from someone else." Zara's composure cracked. "This isn't over, Aiden. You think you're so smart, but you have no idea what you're dealing with. Damian won't let you destroy his reputation." "His reputation?" I laughed. "I'm not the one sleeping with a married man while lying to my spouse about business trips." She raised her hand as if to slap me, then caught herself as people began to stare. The festival crowd was always hungry for drama, and we were providing better entertainment than the folk musicians on stage. "Fix this," she hissed. "Put the money back, retract whatever you told Margaret, and maybe we can work something out." "Like what?" "Like me not telling everyone about your little dinner date with my best friend. You think you're the victim here, but how's it going to look when people find out you were cheating too?" It was a good threat, well delivered, but she'd made one crucial mistake. She assumed I cared about looking like the victim. "Go ahead," I said. "Tell everyone. But make sure you mention that your best friend was the one who told me about your affair. Really emphasize how she showed me the photos, gave me all the details, even suggested we get dinner to discuss it." Zara's face went white. She understood the implication. If she accused me of cheating with Lyra, she'd have to explain how that started, which would confirm her own affair and implicate Lyra as the one who exposed it. "You're sick," she whispered. "I'm learning." I started to walk away, then turned back. "Oh, and Zara, you might want to check your work email. I think Margaret scheduled a meeting for Monday morning." The arts festival continued around us, but I could feel the shift in energy. People were watching, whispering, putting pieces together. In a town this size, secrets had a half-life measured in hours, not days. Sunday evening, I was in my workshop when Terry arrived with pizza and beer, his usual solution to any crisis. "So," he said, settling into my spare chair, "want to tell me what's really going on?" Terry Kowalski had been my friend since high school, one of those rare people who said exactly what he meant and meant exactly what he said. He ran the best auto shop in town, had arms like tree trunks from 20 years of turning wrenches, and possessed an uncanny ability to see through bullshit. I told him everything: Zara's affair, Lyra's revelation, my calculated response. He listened without interruption, occasionally nodding or taking a long pull from his beer. "Damn," he said when I finished. She really played you. Past tense, now I'm playing back. And Lyra? You trust her? As far as I can throw her. But right now, our interests align. Terry was quiet for a moment, studying the drone equipment scattered around my workshop. You know this is going to get messy, right? Zara's not going to just roll over and accept defeat. As if summoned by his words, my phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. This is Damien Kessler. We need to talk. I showed Terry the message. He grinned. Well, shit. Looks like the other player just entered the game. Monday morning brought 3 significant developments. First, Zara's meeting with Margaret resulted in her immediate suspension pending investigation. Second, Damien Kessler called my phone 6 times before I answered. Third, Lyra texted that she had important information and wanted to meet. I dealt with Damien first. Mr. Draven? His voice was smooth, cultured, the kind of accent that came from expensive schools and inherited privilege. I believe we have a mutual situation that requires discussion. Do we? Your wife and I have developed a professional relationship that may have been misconstrued. I'd like to clarify things before any misunderstandings damage both our reputations. Professional relationship. I had to admire his audacity. Where do you want to meet? I asked. The Harborview Hotel has an excellent restaurant. Shall we say 1 o'clock? The same hotel where he'd been screwing my wife. The man had balls, I'd give him that. See you there. I arrived early and chose a table with a clear view of the entrance. The Harborview's restaurant catered to business travelers and local power brokers, all leather banquettes and subdued lighting designed to facilitate discreet conversations. Damien Kessler looked exactly like his photos, tall, well-dressed, with the kind of confident bearing that came from never having to worry about money. He spotted me immediately and approached with his hand extended. Mr. Draven, thank you for agreeing to meet. His handshake was firm, his smile practiced. Up close, I could see why Zara had been attracted to him. He radiated success and control, everything I apparently wasn't. Call me Aiden, and you can skip the pleasantries. We both know why we're here. Damien's smile faltered slightly, but he recovered quickly. Very well, I'll be direct. Your wife and I have been involved in a business relationship that unfortunately developed personal aspects. I take full responsibility for allowing boundaries to become blurred. Blurred boundaries. I tasted the phrase. Is that what we're calling it? I understand you're upset. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you pursued a married woman, used her for inside information on business deals, and then convinced her to lie to her husband about wellness retreats while you two played house at expensive hotels. Damien's composure cracked slightly. The business aspects of our relationship were entirely legitimate. Were they? Because I have emails suggesting otherwise. Screenshots of conversations where Zara shared confidential information about her agency's other clients. Financial records showing payments that don't match any official contracts. I was bluffing, but his reaction told me I'd hit close to the mark. His jaw tightened, and he leaned forward. What do you want? Want? Money? A public apology? Your wife back? Everyone has a price, Mr. Draven. What's yours? The casual assumption that I could be bought told me everything I needed to know about Damien Kessler. He lived in a world where problems were solved with money, where people were commodities to be purchased or discarded as needed. I want you to understand something, I said quietly. This isn't about money or apologies or getting Zara back. This is about consequences. You both made choices, and now you get to live with them. Are you threatening me? I'm educating you. See, you made a mistake. You assumed I was like you, that I'd calculate the costs and benefits and make the rational choice. But I'm not rational right now. I'm angry and I'm creative, and I have a lot of time on my hands. Damien's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his face went pale. Problem? I asked. My wife just received an anonymous email with photos of me and Zara. I hadn't sent any emails to his wife, but I didn't correct his assumption. Let him wonder who else might be playing this game. That's unfortunate, I said, standing. Enjoy your lunch, Mr. Kessler, and give my regards to your wife. I left him sitting there, staring at his phone like it might explode. Lyra was waiting at her gallery when I arrived, pacing among the paintings like a caged animal. She'd traded her usual polished appearance for jeans and a sweater, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. "Thank God you're here," she said. "We have a problem." "Just one?" "Zara knows I helped you. She's threatening to destroy me, ruin the gallery, tell everyone I seduced you while she was away." "Let her." Lyra stared at me. "Let her?" "Think about it. If she accuses you of seducing me while she was on a wellness retreat, she has to explain why you weren't on the retreat with her. If she admits you weren't there, she has to explain why she lied about who was going. Every accusation she makes against you confirms her own deception. But the gallery will survive. You're good at what you do, and this town loves scandal more than it hates adultery. Give them a few weeks, and they'll be lining up to see the gallery where all the drama happened." Lyra sank into a chair, looking younger and more vulnerable than I'd ever seen her. "I never wanted this to get so complicated." "What did you want?" She was quiet for a long moment. "I wanted Zara to stop using me. Stop treating me like her personal alibi service. Stop assuming I'd lie for her just because we were friends. And I wanted someone to finally see through her perfect act. She's been playing victim for so long, making everyone feel sorry for her because her husband didn't appreciate her enough, didn't make enough money, didn't give her the life she deserved." Lyra's voice hardened. "But you were a good husband, Aiden. Maybe not rich, maybe not exciting, but decent and faithful and real." "Was?" She met my eyes. "Are. You are a good man. But what you're doing now, this isn't about justice, it's about revenge. Is that a problem?" "Not for me. I just want you to understand what you're becoming." I understood perfectly. I was becoming someone who fought back, someone who refused to be the victim in someone else's story. If that made me the villain in theirs, so be it. Tuesday brought the confrontation I'd been expecting. I was loading equipment into my truck when Zara appeared in my driveway, looking like she hadn't slept in days. Her perfect composure had cracked, revealing the desperation underneath. "We need to talk," she said. "No, we don't. Aiden, please, I know you're hurt, but this has gone too far. Margaret suspended me. Damien's wife is filing for divorce. His business partners are asking questions. Sounds like consequences." "Consequences?" Her voice rose. "You've destroyed everything. My job, my reputation, my future." "I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped protecting your lies." She stepped closer, and I could see the calculation in her eyes. "What if I came back? What if we tried again? I made a mistake, but people make mistakes. We could go to counseling, work through this." "Work through what? Your affair? Your lies? The fact that you've been stealing from your company to fund your relationship with a married man?" "I never stole." "Insider information is theft, Zara. You sold your agency's confidential data to benefit your lover's business. That's not a mistake. It's a crime." Her face went white. "You can't prove that." "I don't have to. Margaret's investigation will find everything I found and more. Corporate fraud investigators are very thorough." "You bastard!" The mask finally fell away completely, revealing the rage and entitlement underneath. "You think you've won? You think destroying me makes you some kind of hero? I think it makes us even." "Even?" She laughed bitterly. "You have no idea what even looks like. I gave you 7 years of my life. I could have married anyone, but I chose you. I settled for you. And I'm grateful you finally stopped." She slapped me then, hard enough to snap my head to the side. I touched my cheek and smiled. "Feel better?" "Go to hell, Aiden. Already there, but at least now I have company. Wednesday evening, Terry and I were having dinner at Murphy's pub when Damien Kessler walked in. He looked like he'd aged 5 years in 2 days, his expensive suit wrinkled, his perfect hair disheveled, his confident bearing replaced by desperate energy. He spotted me immediately and approached our table with the aggressive stride of a man with nothing left to lose. "You," he said, pointing at me. "This is your fault." "What is?" "My wife filed for divorce. My business partners are questioning every contract we've signed in the past year. The board is calling for my resignation." "Sounds rough. You sent those photos to my wife?" "No, I didn't." "Then who—" He stopped, understanding dawning in his eyes. "Lyra." I shrugged. Hell hath no fury like a woman who's tired of being used as an alibi. Damien's hands clenched into fists. "You think this is funny?" "I think it's justice." "Justice?" His voice rose, drawing attention from other patrons. "You've destroyed my life over a woman who never loved you anyway." Terry stood up, all 6'2" of him unfolding like a switchblade. "Maybe you should lower your voice." "This doesn't concern you," Damien snapped. "Everything that concerns my friend concerns me." Damien looked between us, calculating odds. Whatever he saw in Terry's expression convinced him that discretion was the better part of valor. "This isn't over," he said to me. "Yeah, it is." He left without ordering, pushing past other customers on his way to the door. The pub fell silent for a moment, then conversation resumed with the added energy that comes from witnessing drama. "Classy guy," Terry observed, sitting back down. Zara certainly thought so. "You know he's going to try something, right? Guys like that don't just accept defeat." "Let him try." Thursday morning proved Terry right. I was in my workshop when my phone rang. Unknown number. "Mr. Draven, this is Detective Rourke with the Portland Police. I need to speak with you about some allegations that have been made." "What kind of allegations?" "Harassment, stalking, cybercrimes. Can you come to the station this afternoon?" "Do I need a lawyer?" "That's your choice, sir. But we do need to talk." I called Terry first, then a lawyer I'd found online. By 2 o'clock, I was sitting in an interview room across from Detective Rourke, a gruff man in his 50s, who looked like he'd seen every kind of human stupidity and wasn't impressed by any of it. "Mr. Draven, we've received complaints that you've been harassing your estranged wife and her associate, sending threatening messages, stalking them, hacking into private accounts." "That's not true." "Can you account for your whereabouts last Tuesday evening between 8 and 10 p.m.? I thought back. "I was at Romano's restaurant with Lyra Ventrix. We had dinner, then went back to her gallery to discuss her upcoming exhibition." "Can Ms. Ventrix verify this?" "I assume so." Detective Rourke made notes. "What about your access to your wife's social media accounts?" "I don't have access to her accounts. She showed me some posts herself, and her friend Lyra showed me others." "Her friend showed you private posts?" "Apparently, they weren't as private as Zara thought." The detective studied me for a long moment. "Mr. Draven, I'm going to be straight with you. This complaint smells like bullshit, but if you are harassing these people, it needs to stop. Divorce is ugly enough without adding criminal charges." "I understand." "Do you? Because your wife seems to think you're some kind of criminal mastermind, orchestrating an elaborate revenge plot." "I'm a drone photographer, detective. I take pictures of real estate and corporate events. The most elaborate thing I do is plan flight paths." He almost smiled. "Fair enough. But watch yourself. Angry spouses do stupid things, and I'd hate to see you become one of them." I left the police station with a new understanding of how desperate Zara had become. Filing false police reports was a felony, but she was gambling that I'd back down rather than risk criminal charges. She'd gambled wrong. Friday brought the final confrontation. Zara had been staying with Lyra since our driveway encounter, an arrangement that suited my purposes perfectly. When Lyra called to say Zara was planning something dramatic and stupid for the weekend arts festival, I knew it was time to end this. What kind of dramatic and stupid? I asked. She's going to make a scene, accuse you publicly of harassment, claim you've been stalking her and Damien, maybe even say you threatened her. In front of witnesses? That's the point. She thinks if she can make you look like the aggressor, people will side with her. Will they? Lyra was quiet for a moment. Not if they know the whole truth. Saturday evening, the arts festival's closing ceremony filled the town square with music, food vendors, and half the population of our small city. I arrived alone, dressed casually, carrying my camera equipment like I was there to work. Zara was holding court near the main stage, surrounded by her remaining supporters, mostly people who didn't know the full story yet. She'd chosen her outfit carefully, a simple dress that made her look vulnerable, minimal makeup that emphasized the dark circles under her eyes, hair pulled back in a style that suggested she was too distraught to care about appearances. She was playing the victim perfectly. I set up my camera and began taking photos of the event, working my way gradually closer to her group. When she finally noticed me, her performance shifted into high gear. "Oh my God," she said loudly enough for everyone nearby to hear. "He's here. He's been following me everywhere." People turned to look, their expressions ranging from curiosity to concern. I continued taking photos, professional and calm. "Aiden!" Zara's voice carried across the square. "Leave me alone! I've told you it's over!" More people stopped to watch. This was exactly what she wanted. A public scene where she was the victim and I was the aggressor. "I'm working," I said simply, not raising my voice. "Working? You're stalking me. Everyone can see it." "Can they?" I pulled out my phone and opened the photos I'd taken that evening. Every shot was of the festival itself. Musicians, vendors, families enjoying the evening. None included Zara or her group. "These are my work photos," I announced, holding up the phone so others could see. "Anyone who wants to look is welcome." Several people did, including Margaret Chen, who'd apparently decided to attend despite the drama surrounding her suspended employee. "I don't see any photos of you, Zara," Margaret said after scrolling through the images. "He deleted them." "These are time-stamped and geotagged," I said. "Digital photos can't be deleted without leaving traces." "Then he's using other cameras." I opened my equipment case, showing the single professional camera inside. "This is what I brought. One camera, one memory card, all the photos are right there." Zara's performance was falling apart, but she doubled down. "He's been harassing me for weeks, sending threatening messages, turning people against me, trying to destroy my life." "What messages?" asked Detective Rourke, who'd appeared at the edge of the crowd. Zara faltered, realizing she'd painted herself into a corner. If she showed threatening messages, they could be traced. If she couldn't produce them, her credibility would be destroyed. "Ms. Mellor," Detective Rourke said formally, "you filed a complaint alleging harassment and stalking. Do you have evidence to support these claims?" The crowd had grown larger, drawn by the drama. I could see Damien Kessler at the back, trying to stay invisible. Lyra stood near the stage, watching everything with the fascination of someone observing a car crash. Zara looked around desperately. "Everyone knows what he's been doing." "What exactly has he been doing?" Margaret asked. He's turned everyone against me. Made people think I'm some kind of criminal." "Are you?" The question came from someone in the crowd, a voice I didn't recognize. "No, I made a mistake, but that doesn't make me a criminal." "What kind of mistake?" another voice called out. Zara's face crumpled. She'd wanted a public confrontation, but it was spiraling beyond her control. The crowd wasn't rallying to her defense. They were asking questions she couldn't answer without admitting to things she'd been denying. "I had an affair," she said finally, her voice breaking. I'm not proud of it, but it doesn't justify what he's done to me. What has he done? Detective Rourke asked. He's... She gestured helplessly at me. He's destroyed everything. How? The simple question hung in the air. How had I destroyed everything? By telling the truth, by stopping my protection of her lies, by refusing to be the victim in her story. He told people about the affair, she said weakly. Did he? Lyra stepped forward, her voice carrying clearly across the square. Because I'm the one who told him about it. I'm the one who showed him the photos, gave him the details, suggested he might want to know what his wife was really doing on her wellness retreats. A murmur ran through the crowd. This was news to most of them, that Zara's best friend had been the one to expose her. You betrayed me, Zara said, turning on Lyra. I freed myself from being your accomplice. Ladies, Detective Rourke interrupted. Ms. Mellor, you filed a police report alleging criminal behavior. If you can't provide evidence of crimes, you've wasted police resources and potentially filed a false report. Zara's last card had been played and discarded. She looked around the crowd, seeing no sympathy, no support, no way to salvage her narrative. This town, she said bitterly. You're all the same. Small-minded, petty, jealous of anyone who wants something better. Better than what? I asked quietly. She turned to face me, and for a moment, her mask fell away completely. I saw the woman I'd married 7 years ago, before the ambition and entitlement had consumed everything else. Better than this, she said, gesturing at the festival, the town, the life we'd built together. Better than being nobody and nowhere, married to a man who takes pictures for a living and calls it art. The words hit like physical blows, but I didn't flinch. You're right, I said. You deserve better than this. Better than me. Better than a man who loved you enough to trust you completely. Aiden, you deserve exactly what you've got now. Nothing. I packed my camera equipment and walked away, leaving her standing in the middle of the crowd with tears streaming down her face. Behind me, I heard Detective Rourke asking her to come to the station to discuss her false report. I heard Margaret telling someone that the investigation into Zara's professional conduct would continue, regardless of her personal drama. I heard Damien Kessler's voice, finally speaking up. Zara, we need to talk. But I didn't look back. 3 months later, I was editing photos in my workshop when Terry knocked on the door. Got some news, he said, settling into his usual chair with a beer. Good news or bad news? Depends on your perspective. Zara's moving to Boston. Got a job with some small marketing firm, probably making half what she made here. And Damien? Divorced, unemployed, and apparently broke. Turns out his wife had better lawyers than he did. What about Lyra? Terry grinned. That's the interesting part. Her gallery's doing better than ever. Apparently, being at the center of the town's biggest scandal in years has made her the go-to person for anyone who wants to be in the know. She always lands on her feet. Speaking of which, she asked me to give you this. He handed me an envelope with my name written in Lyra's elegant script. Inside was an invitation to her gallery's winter exhibition and a handwritten note. Thank you for teaching me that sometimes the best way to help someone is to stop protecting them from consequences. L. I set the invitation aside and returned to my work. Outside, snow was beginning to fall, covering the town in clean white silence. My phone buzzed with a text from a potential client, a real estate developer who needed aerial photography for a new project. I typed back my standard response. When do you need it done? Life, it seemed, was moving forward. Zara was gone, taking her lies and drama with her. Damien had learned that actions have consequences. Lyra had discovered that sometimes burning bridges lights the way to better destinations. And me? I'd learned that I was capable of things I'd never imagined, both darker and more satisfying than I'd thought possible. The gallery doors had slammed behind them that night, echoes of their disgrace bouncing off the high arches. No sanctuary for the faithless, not in this town, and not on my watch.